Hello everyone, my name is DeBear, and a lot of you probably know my name from all the videos I've done over the years with PokerTube. Sharkscope have approached me fairly recently with regards to doing some instructional videos for their software, which they have very recently upgraded. Now, I've been using Sharkscope for many years, and I've talked about it in other videos in the past. And I have to say, some of the improvements they've brought in here on their new software I have been extremely impressed with. Now I'm going to talk about stuff in a lot more detail further on in other videos. So some of the changes, some of the very sophisticated pieces of software they've got here to help you get data. But I want to get you up and running straight away. So without further ado, this first video is going to be covering the main basics. So the first section we're going to go into is the main one here, which is player statistics. So I'm going to go in here just now, change that to all networks. I'm going to type my name in here. There we go. And that'll bring up all my accounts with that spelling under all the networks. Now, it is massive. And when you click this down arrow bar, you can just see the coverage that Sharkscope have, and it is absolutely exceptional. So there, for example, is the iPoker. There's on game. I can go on and on, but you can look at that yourself, obviously. Now, I do know I have other spellings variations of my name. So, for example, if I put an extra E in there and do search, that will bring up an account. It should do on the iPoker network. There it is there. There you go. Now, I have to point out, bear in mind, people, I am a hobby player, okay? Let's not forget that. However, I do like to think of myself as a profitable hobby player. So what I'm going to do here, just to show you how to use this to your advantage, I'm going to click this box here. See this? Hit the dustbin at the bottom left. Boom, away it goes. And if I want to look at one location, so I'll take this out of here, 1 second, and change that to Poker Stars, which is one of my main accounts. Hit search on that. See how quick that is? Up it pops. And I want to get the graph up here, just click on my name. There it is, pops up there, nice. So as you can see, very, very simple and very easy to get information on myself or anybody else. Now, I've mentioned before, I am a hobby player, people. So what I am going to do is I'm going to use data from two other people who I've got permission to use their data for. One's very much a tournament player. The other one does both tournaments and sit and goes. So we'll bring their data up and we'll use them as good examples of how to utilize this software to your advantage. So first person I'm going to bring up here is El Duffer. What I'm going to do here first of all is I'm going to look at all these games on PokerStars. I'm going to do a quick search here. And that's going to bring up his data there, very quick as you can see. Then I'm going to look at his scheduled so I can break it down. So I've got all games. I'm going to break that down to scheduled. And then I'm going to go to sit and go. So I've got all, so there we go. Just a quick breakdown of 3 main areas of all his information. Now, Duffer here, a nice guy here from Ireland. He's moved over to Canada to play a lot more serious poker here. And this guy is a serious a tournament player as well as cash. And very quickly, you can see here, I've got an awful lot of information on this particular individual. As you can see there with the rating in there, his profit, stake, ROI, huge amount of data in a very short space of time. Now, if I want to see this person's graph, all I need to do is click on that, on his name, and up it pops, as you can see. There you go, that's for his sit and go. If I want to click on his scheduled, it pops up there and keeps the other one there. And if I go and want to see the all his graph combined, very, very simple. There's all 3 graphs for you to look at. So there's with a sit and go filter there. There it is with the scheduled filter there. You can see there, nearly 45k up. Nice one, mate. And there it is combined. Now, what happens if I want to refine this search a bit more and look into a bit more detail on this individual, like levels he's playing at, where he's most profitable? That's why I have to go into the advanced search option here. And what I'm going to do here is I'm actually going to use another player here who's more of a sit and go player to help demonstrate the benefits of this. So the player we're going to use for this particular example is Eddie Kadub. We're just going to research here, bring up all these games on stars. This person does both tournament and sit and goes. And you see there he's a profitable player. And if we want to look, for example, at his sit and goes data here, so of the 5.2k, 2.7 of that, basically, just over half, is sit and goes there, and he's actually up okay there, 3.3k. Now, if we go to the advanced search function, you see all these buttons and options that pop up. So, for example, you've got an entrance field here. If you click on that, it allows you to custom the entrance. So if you want to look at like 9 to 40 mans, you can do that. Not a problem. Stake and rake here is a new feature with Sharkscope. Again, giving you more options on what to look at. So, for example, if you want to look at the stake plus the rake, that will actually allow you to bring up more events in that field. For example, if you put 20 bucks, right, a lot of the tournaments, for example, on On stars, the total amount includes the rake, so it's going to limit your search. So you can actually go stake and rake, you can custom it any way you want. So they're just giving you the option for you to basically refine the searches. So when you're doing homework on yourself, and you think, right, where's the weaknesses in my game? Where's the strengths? Am I actually batting above my experience level? So let's just say, for example, at $20 and above, we'll just do this with Froggy just now here. We'll just see, has he played many? Well, he hasn't really played a lot. $120, so 120 count there. He's only made $100 on that. So it sounds, just looking at that, if I go 20 and below, it sounds, or it strongly suggests, a lot of his stuff here is coming at the lower one. So 20 and below, he is actually very profitable. So he knows where he's profitable, and that's where he's focusing in at various, entrance levels. And that's part and parcel of the game, remember. Playing at the level where you know you can make money. Obviously, you want to improve, so you can always have shots above your experience level. But if you know, look, I'm doing really well at this level, let's keep raking in the money. You can always, have a few shots or slightly move up the way in stakes. And just when you get to a certain level, you think, hang on a second, I'm getting pwned here. You can move back again. And as I said, it's a great tool for helping you improve your game and think, right, this is where I should be playing at, this is what I should be doing. And at the same time, when you're doing homework on your opponents, especially if you're playing a lot of sit and goes, you will come across what we call regs. You'll know this guy is very good at this level, he's not so hot at this level. Now the other options that pop up here on the advanced function here is boxes you like type to include. So for example, here on Eddie Kebab here, it gives us the option to look at, for example, easy tournaments, neutral tournaments, and hard tournaments. Very handy tool this. So if I just give you an example in the sit and go front, that's Eddie Kadub's overall sit and goes, 2.7k. If I put in the hard filter, he's played 403 games under the hard filter, and he's actually done pretty well here. 741, 14.4% ROI, ability rating 70, so not too bad. If I then change that, and these are automatic preset filters, to take the hard off and go easy, and search that, up it pops pretty quick there. Sit and go, he's played 779 at 415, so he's made slightly less money there. ROI is dropped, so maybe there's a wee suggestion Eddie Kadub should be playing maybe slightly higher sit and goes there, as he's making more money at it. Interesting start there. Then the other box here to move over, types to include and exclude. So for example, if you just want to look at Hold'em, for example, and stuff like that, you can take out the Omaha stuff. You can take away speed, like turbos and all this sort of stuff. Bounties, it's all there. It's down to you. The filters are there to give you the options. Date range as well, that's pretty obviously self-explanatory. If you want to look at a certain point in the year, do you play better in the summer months when there's more sunlight than in the winter months? You can look at all that. So, this is the great thing about Sharkscope. They are giving you the tools to then go away and do the homework that you believe is or think is necessary. Then if you click more options here, more boxes, so you've got versus player, last, average rebuys, and rake back. But I'm going to talk about these sections in more detail in future videos, because obviously I want to keep this to the basics. But in summary, you can see the power of the software here that Sharkscope are letting you use. And it really does allow you to go all the way down to the nitty-gritty if you really want to go there. Or if you just want to look at a general overview, it's down to you. And I think it's a phenomenal tool. So in summary, use wisely. This software can be a massive advantage to yourself when you're doing homework. Not just on yourself to improve your game or look at what areas you're going to be profitable at, but also on your opponents if you're obviously up against regs on your tables, for example, on the sit and go side. Bring you back to our tournament player, Elduffer here. We've got the columns up for the individual once we've searched, and I'm going to explain these for you. So the first one we're going to look at here is the icon. You can see there's a little shark swimming away in front of us there. So if I click on that, it pops up medium shark. And that basically is what Elduffer really is. The other icon that Sharkscope use is a goldfish bowl, which is pretty self-explanatory. Goldfish being fish, and we all know what fish are in poker. I like to call them tuna, but that's beside the point. But that's just a very handy little glance, visual glance, to give you an indication straight away of what you're up against. Next box here is filter. Well, there's no filter in there because we're looking at all games. Next bar along is the profit. If you can see, if you just drag this along here, you can see yourself there. That just moves along as you move your mouse over it, so it's a very handy little visual graphic there. The count, greatly underestimated, but I think it's pretty simplistic. Obviously, it's a number of games an individual has played, but if you tie this into all the other stats you've got here, then this becomes very, very important. Think about it. The more games you play, if you're winning after playing 3,000+ games, you're going to be a good player. However, if you're losing after playing 3,000+ games, then you're probably not that good. I need to do a bit more homework. Average profit, very simple. That is the average profit you've made in relation to your stake. Now, what you're going to take into account here when looking at average profit and average stake is Duffer's return on his average stake is actually very, very good. Now, if you think about it, if his average stake was $500, for example, and he's only getting $12 back for it, then that's not so hot. But in this particular case, he's getting serious, what I call bang for buck there. So that is a very, very good return. Move on to the next column here, and we've got average ROI at 41.1%. In general terms, that is exceptionally good for this particular individual. And basically, a lot of people say, what is ROI? Well, basically, it's short for return on investment. Now, the ROI basically is the profit that you make from playing poker, and it's based really on the amount that you had to buy in for, or as some people say, invest. This concept basically is used for tournament players and sit and go, obviously, who are trying to see if they have made money in the long term. So in Duffer's case, his ROI is 41.1%, sorry. So for every buck he spends, he's getting $41.1 back. That is very, very good. And clearly demonstrates, based on these average count, the stake he's playing at, that this guy's a winning player. Now, if you tie that in with his profit, which is also a key factor here, as you can see here, he's up 43.9 thousand, so it's 43.9k. So that is a very nice return after only 3,000 odd games. So as I say, it's all that matters about using all this data together to then make an assessment on yourself or somebody else if you're looking at them. And then that leaves you with the final box here, which is the ability rating. Now that's 86. Based on what I've been seeing recently with all the changes in Sharkscope, that looks pretty accurate to me. And if you take the ability rating into this factor here, it's very underestimated by a lot of people when they look at people on Sharkscope and their stats, because that ties in this, and it's using what we call like an average percentile, and it takes into account all these factors to come up with that ability rating. And the best way to do it is search the top players on Sharkscope, on the leaderboards, and then look at that ability rating in relation to their stakes, etc. And then look for a few losing players, and you'll see how that figure changes very dramatically. So just looking at that alone gives you a very good indication of whether this is a winning player or a losing player. Last box here we're looking at, or second last box near off, is the form. Gives you the current form right now, if you're doing well or not doing well. And a little trick here is and this is a nice little add-on here with the Sharkscope with all the features. If you click on that, look, there you go. The last 8 games pop up. If you just click on that, and that shows you what this particular individual's been playing at, like stake level, position, and all the rest of it, just by clicking on that box there. And if you want to close it off, just click the cross box. At the end there, nice little add-on feature. Here's a little cross here. So if you want to get rid of that, rather than hitting the dustbin like I normally do, you've got the cross box here. So I can click that, boom, and it vanishes. Hit search again, bring him back up. But that just enables you, so if you've got lots of several boxes of individuals up here, just cross, keep the ones you want open, rather than having to select here and then hit the dump bin. So again, they're trying to make it a lot more user-friendly. Another useful factor here is if you right-click against somebody, they've got all these new features popping up. So like graph, tournament history, you can add a note, for example, on the individual, refresh the row, delete a row, and you can copy statistics. And for example, this one, again, it's all about playing around with this information. But if I use this one just as one quick example just now, if I go copy statistics, that's copied all this data here on him. I can then copy and paste that into stars. You know, on the note section on stars when I'm looking at somebody at a table. So if I've got this running in the background, which I will do, I go right click copy, boom, boom, bang it on the players on the table. Then when I hover over their name on stars, for example, boom, all the information's there in a flash. How useful is that? Now these columns obviously are very useful, but they can also be edited to your own personal taste. 2 ways to get to the editing section here is add other statistics. So you can just scroll down here. This is what's already in the fields. This is either the options of adding stuff in, so you can edit it that way. And the other way, nice little trick here, is clicking on the header bar like this, right click, and then you get this add other statistics. This is a reset table layout as well, obviously, but add other statistics, click on that, up pops a box. How user-friendly is that? I think it's great. And then all you do is scramble around here and find out what you want to add in. So things like, for example, total ROI, total rake, active days, loads of stuff there. But there's a new box I've added in on top of this called playing now. And we've talked about that obviously in the previous video there. So excellent tools here. And again, they're just trying to make it as user-friendly as possible for yourself. Now when we look at this player and we've got the graph running here below, it defaults to profit history, which is obviously the standard one, which is quite useful. But if you actually click on the down arrow button, you get lots of other options here. And again, you just play around with this. And I think it's actually very useful for some of the stuff, you know, when you're doing analysis. So for example, like winning and losing days. So if I click that, look at that, boom, up it pops up, shows you the number of percentage winning days and all that. Very handy information. And you can see how fast that data just populated that screen. So you can go right results by stake. Look at this, boom. I mean, it's just a wealth of information here that is available to yourself to do analysis, not just on yourself, but obviously if you're doing a bit of homework on your opponents, like I say, if you're a sit and go rig, etc., this can be very, very useful. And again, there's just so many options here for you. Finishing positions. I mean, look at that. It's so fast and so easy to utilize. And again, we're going to talk about this in a bit more detail in future videos. But like I say, you've just got so much data there. And if you want to go that deep, it's all there. Now, if I bring back the graph here on this particular individual, let me just show you this. See if I follow the graph along with my mouse, you can actually see a little pop-up box. So you can see how it changes. I mean, it's just instant data. So you can actually basically see, so for example, at this point here, he's 5k up after 1900 games. There's the date as well. And then he gets a nice tasty bink here. And his whole world changes. And that's him off to Monte Carlo, you know. Loving it big time. Then another bink there up to 44k. And he's loving it big style in October 2011. Bit of a downswing here, and then boom, back up again. So nice one. So I just, you know, it's very handy visual aid here to give you information when you're looking at that graph. And the graph parameters, obviously, on the left-hand side, you can see the cumulative total. That's his dollars there, up to 50k there, and his number of games he's played. So very, very simple to understand what you're looking at there. And that's what Sharkscope are trying to do, trying to make it as easy as possible, but giving you as much data as you personally require or want. If you move on to tournament history, very simple. It just shows you his current last few games. I think it's 8 there, if I remember off the top of my head. And you can actually get more. So that's just there. If you fetch the next 100, if I click that, for example, boom, up it all pops. And again, these boxes are resizable. If I can just get my mouse over it, see there? You can just, because obviously sometimes you get big fields, like there's a 1900 field there. And you can look, for example, in the last 100 games, what this particular individual's been doing. So not too great here, a little bit of a bad run, but that's MTTs for you, as we all know if we play them. And then a little bink there, 5 out of 6. So you see this off. Stakes he's playing at, where he's going at, the dates, which site he's playing at. Well, obviously we're looking at stars alone just now. Games he plays, so very useful. And again, the data here can be exceptionally useful. So one little tip I'll give you, for example, when you're analysing somebody, is even if they're having a bit of a bad run, right, like they're not winning much, look, let's see how he's doing. Well, he's got 41 out of 85. So how deep is this individual running? Can give you an indication that he's doing pretty well, he's playing well, he's just not getting lucky at the right time. Because remember, you need luck in tournaments. So 48 out of 288, that's not a bad deep run there. Okay, there, 163, 34. So, you know, 31 out of 185. So he's got close in a few here. Do you know what I'm saying? And again, especially in the bigger fields, there's a 53, 138. It's not a big field, obviously. But there's a deep run there, 170 out of 1444. And we all know that getting deep in these big events requires not just skill, but luck along the way. So again, a useful tip. Now the opponents tab here, again, I'll cover this off in another video, but that's very much for sit and goes. But if I click on it here, it gives you the options here. And as long as I've got sit and go selected up here, I can look at the most frequent opponents, etc. But again, I'm going to discuss that in more detail in future videos. Active tournaments, again, very simple. If he's playing in stuff right now, if I click on that, I'll be able to find him. But at this time in Canada, I don't think I'll be out of his pit yet, so that's unlikely to be happening. He'll be blowing big Zs. But again, very handy if you want to find out what events and see how it refreshes like that. Very good. So there you go, people. That's a basic overview of the software. Now, there's a lot more to cover, and I'm going to cover that off in future videos, but I'm trying to keep it short and snappy in the first video, so it gives you enough information to get up and running straight away. But I'm going to be covering stuff further on down the line, like Tournament Select, the Sharkscope Hard, all this sort of stuff will be covered on in future vids. But hopefully I've given you enough information there. There's a lot to take on board, obviously, but you can go back and relook at certain sections of the video. And again, any questions, I'm more than happy to answer them, as are the Sharkscope team. But on that merry note, hope you all enjoyed the first video, and I'll be back with more to come. Take care now. Bye.